It's Friday night, and welcome to the Fancaste, episode 19. I am your host, Brain Muffin, the lifting nerd. With me on the line is a whole host of crazy characters, and we'll start with Eric Ward.
What's up?
Joining us also again is Justin Beck.
Let's hope this is better than the last time I was here.
I can hear you better. All the way from the Northeast somewhere, Liquid Metal Pro.
I got nothing else to say.
And making all us amateurs look bad, Kendo Slice.
Lape is anus. Swear that I'll hear that like in a WrestleMania one day.
Hey, Jeff made the DVD. Why couldn't that?
Well, we're going to WrestleMania this year, so I'll try to take a Lape as anus sign in and see what happens. If anything, they'll probably confiscate it because it says anus. So what you got to do is you got to take a marker in with you. So you go in with the sign, and then it'll just say, hey, Brian Lape. And then when you get in, then you fucking flip the sign over, and then you change it to Lape as anus. That's as one time I was trying to sneak a sign in because it said CM Punk, but there was a space between the C and the M, and then there was a space in front of the Punk because I was going to put a U and an S, and then the sign said "Come Spunk." But it was around the time CM Punk bailed, so they kind of jacked my CM Punk sign. So I was like, motherfucker, no cum spunk.
You ever tried doing that Chris Benoit stuff that people try to do?
Yeah, it does not work. They do not tolerate anything Chris Benoit.
Well, hey, do it with a hashtag and then put all the Lapizanus camel case it, but run it all together as one word. It may be a little more difficult. Come up with an alternate pronunciation so that, it's Lapianus or something. Maybe they won't get it.
Anus?
Yeah. Like an Egyptian god or something. Blame it on the Egyptians.
That's Anubis.
I know, but they're not going to know that. They're a bunch of wrestling folks.
Well,
Be amazed.
Thank you very much, Vince McMahon.
Hey, I try.
Chris Benoit did nothing wrong.
Isn't he dead?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm just making sure I got my wrestling lore well remembered. I've learned more about wrestling and all that stuff in the last year than I knew growing up. So
It's all allegedlys. Anything was never proven.
yeah. Well, my brother was the one that was more into wrestling than I was, so he might know stuff. I don't know. Anyway,
Here's my question. Whatever happened to Hillbilly Jim? Does anybody know?
Oh,
Actually, I don't know. I haven't heard that name in years.
all right. I'll look into it.
I guess I'm dating myself. It was a long time ago.
well, I had to get
I'm
married
not as old as
to get
Brian, but I'm close.
He's still alive. Hillbilly Jim is still alive.
Brian, how old are you? You're like 40, 48, 49?
Yeah, I'm
64.
49.
I'll be 45 soon, so at least I'm not the resident old fuck. So
Yeah. No, I'm 2 years older than Joel too. So Joel's my brother's age.
Oh, man.
But hey, one of the female fans I think is in her 40s because just some of the things that she was, I forget which one, because some of the comments on one of the videos this past week about being around in 77 for the original Star Wars. So that's great. No, I think
it was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was like almost 40 years or something. No, I like it that the fan base for WCBS is quite diverse in many ways. It's not just a bunch of youngsters; it's some of us old farts and a little bit of everything. And it's real and organic. It's not the fake diversity. Like, oh my God, we have to have a gay fan, or YouTube will kick us off.
Oh, wow.
So,
Almost a big titted fans. Big busty, big titted fans.
Yes, more tits.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if we had a few. They're definitely out there. Although I put Star Wars in last week's title, it didn't seem to make any difference. So the magic's working for Jeff, but it ain't working for us yet.
I blame YouTube.
Yeah, it may be the thumbnail. It's a bit on the risque side. But I don't know. I don't see it any worse than some of those. There's a bunch of people will make like 6 hours, like an hour mix of some kind of trance music or something, and theirs aren't any worse than ours. Their thumbnails, or ours aren't any worse than theirs, and they'll have like 1 million views. So they're not monetized either. So I don't know what's up with that.
Because we don't play ball.
Right. That might be part of it. But anyway, I digress. So let's move along, shall we? I'm into like my third or fourth beer, so we'll see how I do. So this past week, one of the things that was up for discussion and much fun and ridicule was they finally decided on a movie for the Han Solo title for the Han Solo movie.
Botch.
And unfortunately, it's about as unoriginal as actually making a Han Solo movie, and it's Solo, a Star Wars story. So, yeah, it's about as exciting as one hand clapping. So what do y'all think? Is this
That's
just,
not me tapping, by the way.
Yeah, to me, it's just more. It's just another bit of evidence that this is all just a money grab and a rewrite. Because they're gonna, I'm afraid they're gonna emasculate him. He's gonna be this, instead of this scoundrel, womanizing scoundrel that he was, he'll be some stupid, probably 20-year-old cuck. I don't know how young he's supposed to be compared to I don't think it's gonna be like Rogue One, where it's literally going to end with them walking into the Mos Eisley Cantina.
Well, Brian, I don't mean to interrupt you, but from what I heard, it's supposed to span like 10 years before Star Wars or something like that.
Yeah.
And I can fucking guarantee you they're going to turn him into a scoundrel with a heart of gold, and it's just going to be completely fucking stupid and unnecessary.
Well, look what they did to him in The Force Awakens. Let's just completely undo. I shouldn't say completely undo. They undid his story arc, but they turned him into.
That's probably why they're going to make him a guy with a heart of gold, so it could say he reverted back in A New Hope.
Yep.
Reverted back to what?
I don't know.
Being a scoundrel? I mean, he was I know they cut out
he starts as like he did in New Hope, turned a new leaf, and then went back again. So they could justify it in Force Awakens. Some shit like that.
Yeah, but he went back to being a smuggler, but not being a womanizing scoundrel. They turned him into a wimp.
Well, think about it. Look at Carrie Fisher. If she looked like that, you'd leave too.
Well, yeah.
That's a whole lot of that's a whole lot of galactic Twinkies, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, she did age unwell, that's for sure. Well, she was also doing a lot of drugs. Yeah.
Oh, like hardcore, man.
Yeah.
But back in the day, man, she was smoking.
Yeah, she was 19 in the original movie, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So, and apparently doing a fair amount of drugs then.
And many people our age, Brian, I'm sure they had plenty of visual stimulation.
Yeah, I didn't have that with her. I'm not sure why. I think the thing with that is Linda Carter was way over the top in the late 70s.
Those fucking melons. Oh my god.
And so once Linda came along, it was like, Carrie who?
Oh my god. The opening to Wonder Woman, it was so awesome.
Yeah, you guys need to go look at the opening. She's always running.
Oh, Jugs just. Oh.
Yep.
It was a beautiful thing.
So maybe you'll start to understand why I can't take the new one, the new Wonder Woman with "I'm so skinny, gal."
And she still looks pretty good too for her age.
Yeah, she does. She's like 60 or something. Really bizarre.
Yeah, because she was on one of the new episodes of that show, Supergirl.
Yes, she's an alien. So yeah, that was. And she did. There's one episode where she does spin around to like put a fire. She like puts a fire out or something. It was pretty funny. It's like, hey, that's a kind of a callback to her signature move. to turn into Wonder Woman. But yeah, it's, I don't know. I digress. But part of that is outside of the movie scope. But I really think undoing his Han Solo's character arc and then making him kind of worse than he ever was a bit of a disservice to the originals. But it's stereotypical of the third wave feminism, toxic masculinity and all that other nonsense that they talk about. It's it's like they don't understand what was accomplished in that movie at all.
Yeah.
They want to.
Well, the thing about Solo is you don't need to know anything else about him. You just let your imagination do fill in all the blanks. I mean, when you meet him in episode 4, he's a scoundrel. He obviously, has that character arc, and in Return of the Jedi, it's like he's, he is what he is. He's become a hero.
Right. Well, one of the things that I either missed or forgot I saw was when I rewatched The Force Awakens and did my little drunk video afterwards. Finn and Rey are talking about Solo, and Finn says something like, "Oh, Solo, the general of the rebellion," and she says, "No, Solo, the smuggler."
Smuggler, yeah.
Yeah. So it was interesting that he was known. They had him being known in two different ways, and it was kind of, I guess, in some ways, telling of what they were getting at later in the movie. But yeah, I don't know. There's a part of me I like seeing some of the old characters, and I like the tie-ins, but I just kind of wish they would have just skipped ahead and just do they're either dead or they are legends. But people didn't like the prequels because there was no Han Solo or Luke Skywalker in it. So
J.J. Abrams is obviously showing that he's a shitty writer, because if you love the character of Han Solo, he would have never left the Rebellion or the New Republic at that point. He may have left his wife or vice versa, or whatever, but he would have never left the fight to going back to smuggling Rathars and stupid shit like that.
Right. Well, and that size vessel that he had, it's kind of hard. Part of the Millennium Falcon's charm, if you will, is he had ways of smuggling, and it was a small ship. It's not a big thing. So to have him suddenly in a big ship, that was kind of stupid, I thought.
Yeah.
So
one thing I don't get about these side stories is why are they picking characters we don't really need the backstory to? Like for Obi-Wan, It's like I got enough from the prequels, so why do I need another side story?
Well, there's lots of these fanboys who are like, we want to know what he was doing on Tatooine for 18 years while he was watching over
sitting
Luke.
there jerking off watching Luke.
I'm like, he was looking after Luke and meditating and, probably trying to shield his Force ability so that, look in the Phantom Menace. You have both the Jedi don't talk about it, but they talk about the disturbance of the Force. The guy Palpatine and Darth Maul talk about a disturbance, which is what draws them there, and that was just Anakin doing the pod racing. That was part of why he came there. They weren't sure what they were looking for, but he knew that there was something, and that's how, in part, how he found him. So. Having Luke's being a good pilot, going down Beggar's Canyon, bullseyeing womp rats in his T-16 is probably definitely. I think that was on part of his mission there was to kind of shield that so that Vader wouldn't sense it.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. People just want to be told about it. They just don't want to interpret it by themselves, or they try to, and it's really shitty.
It's called having an imagination, and most people nowadays don't fucking have it.
No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they wouldn't have one. I would say they have a very twisted view of things. Is more like it.
That too.
Oh yeah. A lot of creepypasta and all that shit.
Oh God, don't get me started.
Okay, I won't.
I mean, for me, what bothers me about the whole the Han Solo movie, I mean, aside from the fact I'm not gonna watch it and could care less at this point about anything Star Wars related, is the fact that they had to include the word Star Wars in the title of the movie, almost as if to say you would have, like, honestly, if they had named the movie Han Solo, I think that probably would have been a much better choice than just calling it Solo, a Star Wars story, almost as if they
It's that
don't even
brand.
feel confident. It's like Disney doesn't even feel confident that people won't recognize the name Han Solo, so they had to stick in a Star Wars story in it, as is to say, remember, it's a Star Wars movie. It's a Star Wars movie. We guarantee you, it's a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, there might be.
And I
Yeah.
guarantee you, it'll make a lot of money, and that's all Disney gives a shit about.
Well, Disney produces
Of
crap
course.
and makes a lot of money. That's a given.
Yeah. Well, I get it. You know, you're a business and you want to make money. I mean, I'm not gonna sound like some kind of anti-capitalistic goofball, but as a fan, it's like, okay, fine, I'll give you my money if you move the story forward and you create good characters and good situations and that I want to be a part of. But if you're just going to rehash and retell and redo what's already been done, which is exactly what Lucas said in a Charlie Rose interview years ago.
Yes, he did.
This is exactly what they're doing. I mean, this is before he called them a bunch of white slavers, too. But,
Yep.
you know,
They got the wrong person running that show, because as long as Kathleen Kennedy is going to be there, shit is not going to change.
no, I'm convinced she's on a mission to destroy George's legacy. I mean,
She's doing a good job.
you look at the expression on her face when George is saying, I forget who he was telling, that he was turning the reins over to her and thought it was in good hands, and you just kind of look at that smirk like, yeah, you think so, George. You know, I'm finally going to tell things the way I want. And unfortunately, yeah, I mean, even Rogue One made a fair amount of money. Now, my kids haven't seen it. I'm the only one that's actually seen Rogue One. But, you know, my kids are in the target age group, and they're like, okay, they know about it. They know it's a Star Wars story, but to them, because it's not an episodic movie, and part of the numbering scheme, it's just an in-between filler. I don't need to see it.
Definitely felt like it.
Yeah, and it was a story that was already told in books and novels. Plus, obviously, we had to have the PC version of it. We couldn't have a couple men steal the plans. And movie execs got in the way of a movie that could have been pretty decent, but you know, I look at it this way: there's been 5 movies. Well, there will be, basically, with episode 8 or 9. I guess was I counting all of them? There's 5 movies 2 movies that are out, 1 that will be out soon, 2 more that are in the making. Well, 3. I guess. Let's see. It'll be 5 movies total, so it'll be the 3 episodes, Rogue One, and Han Solo. If we don't get a Kenobi movie. And we've had 5 directors fired by Kathleen. I mean, they always say Lucasfilm, but it's Kathleen. Kathleen Kandice Kennedy.
Are you sensing a trend there?
Yeah. I think as soon as someone gets out of line and isn't quite doing her vision of destroying, manhood, they're gone.
Yep.
That's why they'll never get a big name director like a Spielberg, or I know David Fincher was approached and he said, fuck you. They'll never get anybody like that. Yeah, David Fincher was approached for episode 7 initially. And he said that he went in more as just to flatter them. But, he said that he wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Smart man.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I forget.
But for the most part, they want yes men.
Right. I forget the director that they approached. There was some director for Rogue One that I forget his name, who got fired very, very early. It was basically they were only in the planning stages. And then they got Gareth Edwards, and then he produced a movie that was too dark for them to handle, I guess. I don't know. And
I think it was Josh Trank, wasn't it?
I don't remember. But I counted him in my 5 directors, because you basically, Gareth, for all intents and purposes, he was fired. His movie was halfway redone by someone else.
Yeah, it was reshot.
and then you had 40% of the movie was reshot, and you can kind of tell. And then we had the two guys for the Solo movie fired, and then we had the episode 8 director fired already before they even or 9, episode 9, right? Before they even started.
I mean, here's the thing, though. Why would you hire 2 directors that were known for obviously comedy and were known to highly want improvisation on set? If you notice what they are, I mean, obviously they don't do their fucking homework.
Yeah, I don't know how much of it was just a name. Well, look at the for the Solo movie, all the reports of the actor not being able to act very well, and they've got an acting coach on set to help. And why in the world? How does that an actor like that get through auditions? I mean, how do you get to the point where it's like, okay, we'll take him, but he needs help? I mean, how do you even bother with that?
Question.
Is it just like he looks the part, and he doesn't look the part that much, and it just there's all kinds of odd decisions being made by Miss Kennedy. I guess actually technically she's a Mrs.
I call her Darth Kennedy.
That's the plot twist.
That's the plot twist. Well, hey, I did post. I know according to Wikipedia, her middle name's Candace with a K. So make of that what you want.
Triple K.
Kandice Kennedy.
Yeah. Well, Jeff even said, too bad cunt isn't spelled with a K. I'm like, wow, you can spell it with a K. She's spelling, Candace with a K. Most people I know named Candace are spelled with a C.
Hold on, I gotta look this up.
So hopefully,
it just kind of feels like this whole thing is a mess, really.
She sucks.
I mean, like, look at the prequels. It's like, say they're good or bad, but it doesn't felt like it was like a total disaster in the behind the scenes.
Yeah,
that's because George ruled with an iron fist. I mean, he got what he wanted.
I think
checks.
I think that the main thing with the prequels is had they done something like they did with Empire, where George had the overall story idea, and he let someone else write it and direct it.
Oh, you're right. Triple K's, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. And George may have had a lot of bad ideas, and the prequels for the most part were really shitty. But at least they were his ideas, and at least they were different. It wasn't the same shit being rehashed.
Yeah, and it felt like he was doing better as it went on. Like, you can't say like Revenge of the Sith George Lucas was the same as like Phantom Menace Lucas.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, I really enjoyed Revenge of the Sith. It was a fun movie.
Oh yeah. I think if anything, you could tell like you said, like the movies suck. The first two, like they aren't like especially the first movie. Like I can't sit through another watching of the Phantom Menace, but holy hell, fast forward to that ending where we get the fight with Darth Maul. It is probably like
that's part of the movie. Yeah,
it's like the most satisfying thing you could watch in that whole movie. Is like, damn, you put us through all this punishment. The least you could do is have this end in a good way. That fight alone is like, you know what? I would, if somebody says you have to sit through either this one or Attack of the Clones, I think I could sit through the first one just to watch that fight again. Just the way, even the setup, even the way that movie ended, I thought was really good. It was really cool. It was something like he had imagination. Like he at least put a little bit of in him, like what he thought would be a good idea in it, and it wasn't just to pander to the audience. It was like kind of like, let's explore this direction and see how this goes from here.
Well, yeah, and I saw an interview with him about things in the prequels, and it was very important for him to have ships and things that weren't the same, but kind of you could see could develop into what we saw previously. And
definitely,
there's definitely a reflection on the pace of the movie and what things happened, but in some ways, the second one was Attack of the Clones. The second one,
yep.
You couldn't do a really good story arc with the middle one being dark and the third one being a bright, hopeful, cheery, hurrah, everything's done. Because you have the rise of Vader in there, and you have the despair and lack of hope that A New Hope kind of puts forth. Right, this was kind of the spark of we defeat the Empire and their bad weapon, and then of course in Empire they're pissed off and realize the rebels aren't this little band. And I think there were multiple mistakes made in the prequels, and one of them was having the rebels really start too early. And I've thought more than once that the prequels probably should have ended maybe a couple of years before A New Hope, not with the birth of the twins. Maybe show a young Luke and a young Leia separate. The problem is of course you give away that they're twins and that they're brother and sister that you don't know about in A New Hope. So I have long when I was sitting there in the theater in '99 when Attack of the Clones or Phantom Menace came out, and I realized what George was doing was starting with him so young and everything, I thought, I don't agree with where he's starting. I thought it was too much of a reflection of the same journey that Luke was on. I was kind of hoping for a different path to the same question and decision, where he makes a different decision. In other words, a fall from grace, where it was a rich kid or somebody who was kind of about the same age. It's like if you're going to reflect the original series, then make him the same age as Luke. Don't make him 9 years old or whatever he was in that original.
Or at least make him a teenager.
Right, because
8-year-old blowing up Federation battleships is it's too much.
Right, and I never could get past the creep factor after that with him and Amidala, and of course there's no need to make her a queen because Princess Leia was Princess Leia Organa, not Princess Leia Skywalker. So she could just be a person. She doesn't even have to be this royalty. So you can take out all of the democratic monarchy and all that other nonsense. But by the time we did the prequels, he had heard for 20 years from parent groups about Return of the Jedi and about Empire. And when he came out with his special editions and he added things to them to lighten the mood, especially like in Jabba's palace and all that, we kind of had a
Jedi rocks, yeah, that was
right.
Awesome.
We had a warning of what was coming, and that's because people were whispering in his ear about how this is violent, and we see Ewoks get stomped, and it's like, well, it's war, you dumb twits.
And I still can't believe that he did the whole shit with Greedo shooting first. It's just what the fuck, man.
Right, and he's retconned that to say we always meant. And I'm like, no, you didn't always mean.
How the fuck do you miss at point blank fucking range?
Right. Well, only that, he's up against a scoundrel. And, Han shooting first is completely in character.
And that's what made Han awesome, man. He wasn't a fucking good guy. He was a fucking scoundrel. He was an outlaw.
Right. Well, he was out for himself.
Two pairs ask questions.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and Greedo had a fucking blaster on. He had every right to fucking blow his head off.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway.
The cool factor, man. He was, so it made Han Solo cool.
So, yeah, we'll have to see what they do. I really think we're going to get some kind of neutered cut out of the Han Solo movie. They're really going to do something egregious, I fear. I want to be 100% wrong. I really want to be one of those people that after the movie comes out and I'll have to make an apology video for saying, oh, Disney, I had no faith in you and you showed me that I was wrong and I should have had faith. Because I really want the movies to be good, but my goodness, nothing's telling me that they're going to be.
Well, recently I saw an interview with Mark Hamill, and he was talking about, all the negativity about Star Wars. And I was surprised he actually said this, but he had said, he's like, I saw George at the premiere of The Force Awakens, and he's like, I leaned in his ear and I whispered to him, it'll never be the same without you. And
wow.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, it's on YouTube. And it's like, damn, Mark. It's like, But I know Mark doesn't give a shit. Mark's going to say what he wants to say. What are they going to do? Fire him?
Right. Yeah,
fucking Skywalker,
Well, the backlash they would get from fans if they did something like that.
Oh, yeah.
They know they can't.
Yep.
Harrison
Mark
wanted
told
out.
Kathleen Kennedy to kiss his fucking white ass. and she couldn't do anything about it.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
That would be awesome. Hey, Kathleen, come over and suck my dick.
Well, after a couple shots, maybe she might actually be bangable, but I don't know. I have to get really drunk for that one.
Oh, I know Jeff's mentioned it before, but have any of you guys seen that video? It's from I think it was from the 40th anniversary convention where they were doing a panel, and Mark basically said that, I basically disagreed with everything in episode 8 concerning my character.
Yeah.
And she totally went into PR mode, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
saw that.
She cut him out. Oh, it was fucking great, man.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, that's one of those things that told me that this isn't headed the right way.
He's such a big part in this movie. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, man, it's Mark Hamill, the man I mean, with him, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher, you talk about like Star Wars and the major characters. Those are the biggest three right there. Then you have also Darth Vader, Yoda, and other Chewbacca, others. You always have them. But those are the three main actors that people will recognize as being part of them. And I mean, like actors, like not somebody inside the suit playing a part of the role or something like a Darth Vader or Yoda. Those are characters, who are played by actors too. But meaning like faces, like actual human faces, people will recognize. And not just like talking about here, like let's say in the United States, but even like worldwide. Because I could tell you, Star Wars has been, people have seen Star Wars in other countries, so they recognize Luke, they recognize Han, they recognize Leia. So with Mark Hamill, he's possibly been one of the biggest contributing factors of the franchise, period. It probably might have never been a Star Wars if you think about how, let's say you're taking away one of those guys, one of those three, probably wouldn't have been Star Wars. Star Wars wouldn't have been the hit that it became. It just worked out so perfectly. They kind of made the whole movie, not saying themselves.
And they had chemistry.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's the biggest problem with the prequels is they didn't have chemistry.
Yeah.
Oh God, especially that romance. I was like, what was that about?
I mean, Star Wars, the original trilogy. I mean, I'm an older guy and I grew up with it, so I'm a little biased. But I mean, it was lightning in a bottle. There was nothing like it at the time. There was no internet, so you had 3 years between each movie where you were just scraping for every bit of information you could get. And now, Star Wars is just another film. It's another summer film or another winter film to go see. And, I mean, it's lost its, that special quality of what Star Wars was.
The Call of Duty now, basically.
Yeah, and a lot had to do with it was those three main actors.
Exactly. I mean, I haven't watched Star Wars, the original trilogy in years, but if I were to see like a DVD box on sale or somewhere, I know for a fact, if I don't even see the word Star Wars on it, but if I see those three faces, I'm like, hey, look, it's a Star Wars movie. Like, I would like say, hey, look, I recognize these characters from far away or whatever. So those big three are possibly one of the biggest contributing factors to this series. And, especially now like Carrie's gone and Han's been written out. I'm pretty sure Mark at this point is like, essentially we built this whole universe. We helped build it with George and everything. Like there wasn't just there wasn't like just small roles. It was like everybody had their part, and every piece of the puzzle just happened to fit very well and to make this very, very imaginative, very great series. So now all of a sudden you have all that lack of imagination. Everything is about let's pander to the lowest common denominator. Let's pander to the audiences because we must have, and then you get the checklist out. You must have a black actor, you must have a gay actor, you must have a female, you must have a trans, you must have someone in a wheelchair. And it's like that list will never end because there's always going to be somebody out there that has to wants to get like their hand in the pot, so to speak. Oh, you don't have enough fat actors? Now you have to add a fat person. Oh, you don't have fat females? You have to add a fat female because then that's body shaming women. Or you don't have a fat female up and it just I believe they used to call it the progressive stack. Like the more quote unquote oppressive, the more oppressed you are, the more power you should have, so to speak. So it's this whole pandering nonsense, and it's not just one in Star Wars, but entertainment in general. I mean, I know we talked about last week about what was it, Rick and Morty, I believe it was, we talked about last week, Brian.
Yep.
And one of the things
And all the
I don't
Szechuan sauce nonsense.
yeah, the Szechuan sauce. Oh my God, yo, those videos are hilarious. But one of the things I think I didn't mention it because it wasn't something that I thought of at the time, but there was actually a video on it. I think is the channel is called Dr. Layman or something like that. Look it up. Basically, if anything, I'll put a link on the comment section if you want to check it out. And he talked about how the creator of the series, towards the, season 3, started pandering to the fans, and he could tell there was a notable change in the direction of the show. Like, the show wasn't as good as it was the first 2 seasons. It was like a drastic change. And on top of that, I believe one of the things that they are pandering to is this whole like weird romance between the main characters, where they even said we might do an episode on it in the future where we explore that in a different universe. And I don't know, take that as you will, about how sometimes this whole pandering nonsense just really ruins good quality entertainment.
Yeah. No, I agree, and that's the whole thing with the Szechuan sauce and all that other nonsense, and some of the other things where fans are like, we weren't a part of it 15 years ago, but we want our slice of it now, and
everybody wants to feel special. Nobody wants just to enjoy something for what it is. Everybody wants to feel like they got a little piece of the fucking pie.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree, and that's part of what even Jeff touched on with James Bond and people saying, well, it's a code name, and they had to in the movie show his parents and the tombstone, and it's like, I don't know why people come up with this, but now, I mean, just go search Star Wars fan theories, and you'll get, I don't know how many videos I've seen. I've only watched a couple, but I haven't. You just watch a couple, and then YouTube will give you endless streams of suggested videos of who Rey's parents are and who Rey is and whether she has parents or not. And it's what's mind-boggling to me. It'll be the same channel. We'll have 20 different videos on who's Rey. So they cover all possibilities so that when the new movie comes out, they can say, I was right, I called it. And
you know who the worst is that dude Mike Zero. Holy shit, man. Have you guys ever seen him before?
No.
I'm not sure.
Nothing.
He puts out a video every fucking day about Star Wars, and it's on and on about who possibly Rey might be, and it's just like, dude, what the fuck, man?
Well, that's how, and they get lots of views. Some of these things will get hundreds of thousands of views because they all want to be a part of it. It's that desire to be a part of something. And they want to feel connected and in the in crowd, and that's what they're doing. They're just
like that theory that I don't know Luke possibly being gay. And it's like,
he's
not fucking gay,
Yeah.
Why would you want him to be gay? That's first off.
Well, see, that's a dumb theory because I remember clearly watching the trilogy when I was younger, and clearly there was the whole thing before it was revealed towards the later on, of course, that he wanted to bone Leia, and he was competing.
Fuck yeah, he wanted to bone her.
And then out of nowhere, Luke, you mustn't have feelings for your sister. Oh, she's my sister.
Yep. He became more focused as a character. So
yeah. Sometimes you just have to put the pussy aside and just say, you know what, I have a job to do. Then you come back, you slap that ass, and a couple times, and
Well, yeah, there's
and Mark Hamill being the great fanboy that he is, came out and said, "Hey, if you think Luke's gay, then he's gay."
Yeah. Well, I think part of it was like,
whatever works for you.
He wasn't necessarily against the idea, but I don't think he was really for it. It's like, yeah, it could be, but it's not really that important either. And that's the other thing.
If you want a gay character, create a new gay character, but leave the established ones the fuck alone.
Right.
Yeah, make your own gay Star Wars and leave ours alone.
Exactly. But I'm telling you, dude, J.J. Abrams is going to put a fucking gay character in Episode 9. You watch.
Well, he's already said there's 1 in 8.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of speculation of who it's going to be.
Right.
There's a lot of speculation that it's Laura Dern's character. Is it Rose?
Oh, yeah.
Who goes with
Yeah,
Finn?
bi. I heard about that. She
Yeah.
is bi.
Yeah.
The Porgs.
The Porgs, or yeah, it's.
Wasn't there a thing that there was a gay romance in like episode 4 or something like that?
Yeah,
I heard
was
something about that, but I don't know what they were talking about. I think it's some stormtroopers.
yeah, it's the C-3PO and R2-D2.
I still haven't figured out why C-3PO is gay. I mean, they made that fun of that in the Rift as well, and it's like.
Oh, no.
I think it's just because he's flamboyant.
He loves getting lubricated, Brian.
Oh.
It's on The
He
Simpsons.
loves
Oh,
those
God.
oil baths, you know?
He gets 1 oil bath in the first movie. Because his gears are almost frozen from being out in the sand.
That you know of.
That we know of. Yes, that's true. That is true.
Oh, man.
So, anyway. Such as it
Anyway,
is.
the title sucks.
So, I think we agree that the title sucks, and
It's just unoriginal. It's like, that's the best you can come up with.
And the
Fucking
KKK has
Solo,
officially
one of
ruled
the
Star Wars.
best. Yeah.
yeah, I really don't know what people were expecting as far as titles. You know, it's it's Han Solo, a Star Wars movie.
Well,
So, and I also wonder if this is going to set a precedent that they're all going to be a Star Wars movie, so that these fan cucks that are out there can figure it out. Oh, that's a Star Wars movie. It's not numbered, but it's a Star Wars movie because it says so in the title because it says Star Wars. It's
yes, Darth Kennedy has already said every non trilogy movie is going to be titled a Star Wars story.
yeah.
The Porgs, a Star Wars story. Like, we actually need one.
So let's get Greedo. Let's get. I know it was a trolling. It was a great trolling thing when they someone made a thing that looked like a press release saying that Jennifer Lawrence was going to be in the Aunt Beru, a Star Wars story.
Oh,
That
Naked
was
or
great.
wearing clothes?
Oh, wearing clothes. That was
Damn it.
a young Beru or something, or I forget what they said the title was. I mean, they made it look like they had her standing in front of a Star Wars background and everything. It was great. I mean, that was a troll.
what do people think she's hot? Oh,
I don't think she's hot, but she is still somewhat fappable too. So
She's not ugly.
exactly.
Uh-oh. Eric, you're breaking up really bad.
God damn it, it's the Illuminati.
I bet
Hold
you
on.
had a brilliant point to make, too, I bet.
I'll go get rid of them. Hold on. Yep, they got to him.
Uh-oh. We're going to have to add him back.
No, he's still here. Just
More digital static, dude.
You guys hear me?
Now we can. Yep, that's better.
Sorry about that. I'm driving to the canyons right now, and the reception sucks.
Okay. Are you on your way home?
California is okay. California is a very large state.
Well, don't let us get you a $700 ticket either.
No, I'm on my Bluetooth.
Okay.
Man.
So you're a cordless or hands-free. Right.
Yeah, you don't fuck around out here with that shit, man. They'll nail your ass. A couple $100.
Yeah. So, yeah, I had a coworker that got pulled over, and the guy, he got a warning, but he was told by a Los Angeles policeman that it would have been a $700 fine.
He's lucky because most chips out here, man, they're a bunch of pricks.
Yeah. So, because he was headed to the airport, stopping, and it was in stop and go traffic where he could have walked to the airport faster. So,
Yeah, it's that bad.
yeah.
That's no lie.
So, all right, let's move on to another movie that's coming out that I really don't know if I care. I will say that I liked parts of the trailer. Some of it looked stupid, and that's Black Panther. But the topic of discussion were these, again, I got to be a part of everything, reactions where there's reaction videos. Just forget it, it's just Black Panther. Anything now, any trailer gets a react. Lots of people make these reaction videos where they're beyond over the top. They're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Hello, welcome back to YouTube. It's me, pretentious asshole. I gotta do some raw reaction.
Like those.
Yeah. And how, I can't wait for a black hero and all this stuff. And I'm like, get real. There've been black heroes in movies for years. Where you been?
Yeah, I'm surprised people don't remember Wesley Snipes. What the fuck?
Yeah, but this is now, guys.
Yeah, this is the current
what
year, and
matters.
none of that matters. Yeah. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Eric completely dropped off. We'll add him back.
Ah, damn it! They got him in California.
Yeah. But so, and the recording didn't stop. So that's good. Yeah, Jenny, I forget her last name, but she has a channel where she talks a lot about Star Wars stuff, and she did a great parody of, and this was for the trailer for, it wasn't for Star Wars, I think it was the Thor trailer, and then she's like, oh, it's stupendous, and doing all those fake reactions. Then she said, wait a minute, here's me actually watching the trailer, and I think it may have been Black Panther. And she's just sitting there with her headphones on, and she makes one remark, it's like, huh, like in the middle of it. And that's it. And it is a great troll of those people who overreact in those things. Hey, he came
There are
back.
people that
I'm
Uh-oh.
sorry, it was my old lady called. So.
Oh, okay. Well, you haven't disturbed the recording, so that was good. I mean, what do you guys
And
think?
as you know, Brian, when the old lady calls, you pick up.
Yeah, sometimes. So what
I,
do you guys
for
think
one,
of
as
these reaction videos?
I don't know, like a lot of them are like over the top, and some of them are just them sitting there watching it. But I feel like the over the top ones are becoming the more popular ones because it's the ones that get the most views and all this other crap. So
Yeah, you're right. It's all about attention.
Yeah.
yeah,
All it is.
Well, I don't understand how they get so. Because I
mean,
watch them. I guess I don't know. I don't know if people watch them like I do for the stupidity and the reactions. You know, it's
but I do kind of watch some people's reactions to some stuff. I admit to that. Like, I feel like I think the ones you talked about last week were like the Renegades React or whatever. Like, I'm kind of fine with that just to see some other people's reactions to them. But when they're so fake, it's just like you just want to turn the video off and do some other shit.
It's like when I watch video game streams or video gameplay of like any type of video game, and then you have to hear the obnoxious voice of the player and some fucking nonsense that host start talking or some other freaking language. Like, yo, shut up! I just want to watch you play. I'm not here for you. I'm here for the damn game. But for some reason, like Brian says, you see their view count or subscriber count actually pretty high for something that shouldn't really be that high to begin with.
Yeah, I'm fine with like a lot of stuff, like Let's Plays and all that. Where
it's all right. Eric's in a noisy place now, so just keep talking, Justin.
okay,
I mean,
I'm
I may
kind
have
of
to
fine with
mute
like
him.
Let's Plays and commentaries and reactions and all that, because I do like seeing other people's, how they think of this or that and the third. Like I like views and all that. But yeah, when it gets annoying, fake, just anything in that kind of realm, just I kind of ruins it, and that's why I get why people say like, why do people like Let's Plays and all that?
Yeah.
I'm an idiot that basically ruined it for everybody else.
Yeah, Eric, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but there's a lot of noise coming from you got a dull tone coming from your line, man. At least I don't
I
know
just
if
pulled him, and I just pulled him to Chipotle here to get my dinner.
Okay.
Probably why. Some
Yeah.
exciting shit, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
Oh
it
man,
was,
let's not.
it was
let us not
noisy, and then there was just a tone like a woo. So,
I swore I heard a parrot.
Yeah, I'm here. You know, basically, I'm out here in the desert, man. So there's so many dead zones.
yeah, I understand. That's part of being 3 hours behind us. So, anyway, it's going to be an interesting episode. So, yeah, it's the reaction videos to me. I actually like the reaction videos for the Force Awakens trailers. That was for the cast. So now we're getting radio, man. We may have to let him. You gotta. Hey, Eric, you may need to mute while you're in there. We might get too much music, and they're gonna give us a copyright strike.
I want to see if we can get an alien feed.
I'll be back in a minute.
ET phone. Oh wait, I can't say that. We might get a copyright strike if I quote it.
Yeah, just you can only hum a few notes, not a few bars. But there we go. Yeah, just mute him. So that was kind of nice, but I don't know. I because I watched one for the Black Panther because I just wanted to see what kind of silliness was going out there. And then, of course, once you watch one video on YouTube, it gives you 1,000 suggestions of things that are really similar. And no matter what you're subscribed to, now we've got video. And it's just crazy. It's like, yeah, we don't really, I don't know. I guess they're popular. I like the commentary stuff, reading the comments that Jeff and Kendo have been doing about those. And it's, I don't know. I guess some people just don't have anything else to do, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And Eric says he'll call us back in a few. So
That's cool. I think I could probably add a little more into this why this is, I guess we call it a phenomena, really, because it's really astounding how it really takes off. But again, I keep mentioning the channel Metaker. One of the things that he was mentioning when he did one of his videos about the Nostalgia Critic, and for everybody who's familiar with that, was how at some point it no longer becomes about the content, but rather themselves. Like they're trying to make their own character. They try to make the content is no longer, like, let's say for example with the Star Wars, right? You have people who start out doing Star Wars videos. At some point, it stops being about them discussing Star Wars stuff, and then it becomes about the video, primarily focusing on their character, who just so happens to probably be talking about Star Wars stuff. So it's kind of like the React videos. They basically are tossing their character out there. You're coming from my character. You're not coming here for the content I'm talking about. I'll talk about the content you're talking about, but the reality is it's always going to be about me and me only. Or me and related to me. And, another thing that you'll notice with some of these content creators and the reacts, there's some good ones, some of them that do some decent reactions and whatnot. And again, some of them might be genuine reactions like, oh, hey, I haven't seen the trailer, so here we go, blah, blah, blah. Well, this is how I feel. Tell me how you feel, blah, blah. Let's open the discussion table. And then you have others who have already realized, hey, look, I made my character into a brand. Let's see how far I can milk this. And then it goes from this whole... And you can tell once they start making a brand because they'll start probably advertising how, hey, look, buy my T-shirt or buy this and that. Is like they're gonna shill it. I'm not saying that ain't something you can't do. It's just you'll notice how they make it more about themselves than they are talking about the actual content.
yeah,
Yep.
And part of it, the content, the character is some part of the content. Markiplier has done this with. Markiplier himself is a character. And then
Oh God, no.
And then he's done other Professor Mustache and others. And he's created other characters. I forget the guy's real name.
Less is talked about him, the better.
Well,
God,
my
man.
daughter likes him as many. He actually used to work at Micro Center where my daughter works, so there's some people there that know him. So I've never
Well, he's
met him,
not
but he's pretty short.
Yeah, he's not a bad guy or anything, but unfortunately, because of him, the whole like Five Nights at Freddy's became a brand now,
Right.
and you want to talk about a toxic fandom? Don't look it up. Do yourself that favor.
Oh, I know what Five Nights at
Too late.
Freddy's is.
Ah, damn it, Justin.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
I'll never
kids
get to see it
played the
again.
first couple of versions of that. I think maybe through the second or third. So my daughter especially, but I think they both played it. It's a decent game. I mean, it's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say it was fun because I never bought the game myself and I never was planning to. But you know what? It was entertaining for what it was, and I think it just is one of those things. Again, like it comes back to the creator realizing, hey, look, I have this fan base. Now I have to, in order to keep my popularity or to keep my momentum going, I have to kind of pander to the audience, and that's kind of what ended up happening with that. So it
A bit.
basically, yeah, what?
Said a little.
Yeah, a little bit, and it usually starts with something small, and that's when because you would have thought that series would have been over by now. I know it's like what 6 or 7 installments in now. Like,
Oh, really?
I
geez.
didn't think they continued after sister location or whatever it was. I thought it
think-
was dead.
Yeah, I thought so too, but no. And one indication I had that it wasn't even dead was the fact that, again, I always take a look at what merchandise is out there. You know, when I go looking for my figures or model kits, now I'm doing that now. Or occasionally I may want to collect the Funko. Is I keep seeing the Five Nights at Freddy's stuff constantly being advertised. I'm like, holy shit, how is it still alive?
Yeah, you could think thanks to Markiplier and like Matt Pat for that shit for all his theories.
God, fuck him. The Matt Pat, I could say Markiplier is probably a cooler dude. Matt Pat's a fucking shill and a cuck.
Yeah.
I'd say Markiplier is quite talented. But then I've watched my daughter's been watching some videos ahead. I kind of peek over her shoulder about when he's doing playing a game or something like that, I mean, he seems okay, but he doesn't seem to have much of a vocabulary, and it's like I think he overreacts to some things, and I guess part of the problem is I don't like watching people do things that I can do. Part of the reason why I watch football or maybe hockey or something is because I can't play those sports that well. I don't watch a lot of soccer because I played fairly well. I mean, not at the level of the World Cup or something like that. I'm not going to pretend. But skiing is another one that I sometimes watch. And yes, I ski, but I don't ski as fast as some racers and all that. So, but a lot of it, I can't imagine me watching someone play a game. It's different if I'm watching something to understand, okay, I'm stuck in a game, I need some help, I can't get to something, I want an information on how to do that. But, watching a 3-hour video for someone doing a playthrough of, say, Battlefront or something, I just I don't get it. I really don't get it. Or live Twitch stream of people playing, what is the name of that game? It's League of Legends,
Oh.
where people will watch people play that or something similar for 2 hours and donate money. And I'm like, why don't you just download the game and play it yourself? It's like, it's not like it's some game that it costs $10,000 and you can't get a hold of it. Just play it.
Oh. I mean, there's content that does cost like $1,000 in the game, from what I know, am aware of, apparently.
Oh yeah.
But
But I'm talking about, and I've seen videos of, Twitch fails, if you will. And it's amazing how often these people are just playing League of Legends or something similar, and people are donating money. And one of the things is some people troll them, and they'll donate $1 million or something crazy, which they know is a donation that's going to get rejected. It can actually get you in trouble. But and they start screaming. There's especially some of the girls. But I mean, they're on there with their cameras and their boobs hanging out, and or boosted up or whatever.
not complaining.
And you know, it's like, why are people there? You know why people like guys are watching. I don't know. I didn't understand it when I was, young. Obviously we had video games and Ataris, and the 2600 was still king of the hill, even though there were other systems that came out. But I had friends that, we'd rather go outside many times and play. The video games were what we did when the weather was absolute garbage. Too cold or too rainy or whatever. But it was nice out. We went outside and played. And we sure as heck didn't. If you were playing a game that was a one-person game, your friends would put up with that for about 5 minutes. And it's like, look, we're playing two-player or we're not playing, And Rare was a game that could handle 4 people, but there were a few. I think there were some television games that were like that. But to watch somebody else do that for hours on end, I don't understand it. I don't know if it's a generational thing or it's just an expectation.
I really can't answer that question, unfortunately. I mean, I've done it before. I don't do it as much now. Obviously, part of me thinks it might be a generational thing,
Maybe.
for that reason
Probably.
alone. But then other part of me is says, well, that just can't be it. It seems like there's more to it, and this is probably just one of those things that just cannot be answered, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I liked Jeff's reaction video where he went all this and, oh yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I have actually thought about doing one where I overdid it like that, but I actually did a video, not just me with audio like he was doing, because I just think they're just so stupid. It just, I don't mind a discussion afterwards sometimes of what you thought about the trailer and what you expect about the movie.
Yeah, that's cool.
But
Yeah.
And then what I really gets on my nerves thinking that similar related videos are when you get a 2-minute trailer and a 45-minute discussion breakdown of the trailer. I've seen some of those pop up. I watched, obviously I got sucked in that black hole before The Force Awakens, but after that I don't. And I'll see some suggested ones, and they'll link this 23 minutes, 28 minutes, 32 minutes. It's like, how can in the world can you talk about a 2-minute trailer for half a frickin' hour? I don't care if you break down every frame. I mean, just insane. Oh, did you see that? Remember this? Did you see that? And this is this, and remember that? I'm not hyped
It's a
for
mystery.
it. I bought into the hype train the first time, and I am not buying it again. And I don't know how much of this is fake, how much of it is people wanting to be included in the club, so that if by some chance some Disney marketing person comes across their video, they might give them money. It's like, we already know the big channels have been bought and sold. They've sold out. They're taking the Disney money. This is why they're not critical of any of these things. The Scream Junkies and especially some of their fight movies and all this, their movie fights, where people won't be critical at all about the new Star Wars movies because they know that they can't bite the hand that feeds them. I forget some of the other ones. I don't care anymore. Collier, I think, is another one. Collider, whatever it is. I bought into it the first time, and now it's like, nope. You conned me the first time, and now I'm way more cautious.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, apparently where Eric is, he's on a long line, so I don't know when he'll get back to us. So let's move on to Netflix. This was a topic this is kind of the streaming side of Netflix, because on the DVD side, a lot of movies are still available, although sometimes I guess they get lost or whatever, and they never get replaced. I've had a bunch of movies go into the save column that I've had in my queue for a long time. I still get one at home. In fact, I've got some Doctor Who episodes to watch. But I think part of the question is, can anybody fully compete with them? I know Nick was talking about, I thought he said the IAC, which I'm not sure what that is.
Mm.
I don't know.
Was saying kind of like Netflix can't be competed with. The cynical side of me wants to not believe that someone can also do a streaming service a little bit differently, that is a slightly different business model, that because no one knows really what's that next paradigm shift, right? The first one was with audio, and then it was with Netflix shifted the paradigm with the DVDs, where you could keep it as long as you wanted. You didn't have late fees. You paid for so many a month. And then streaming started to become an option. The problem that we run into with streaming is that a lot of the licensing fees are 5 or 6 times what they are for the DVD, and that's thanks to your studios. If you know, and there was an agreement. I think it's 30 seconds. You can play anything for less than that. Hulu's got a slightly different model. Amazon's got a slightly different model. They seem to compete okay, but they, there's other things there. And then the other side of that was Netflix spending a lot of money, having 80 new shows and content coming out next year that I'm not sure who's going to watch. I mean, I watched the Jessica Jones season 1, and I've tried to get into the other ones, and even Orange is the New Black, and I didn't get very far in it all, and I was like, I can't stand it. It's not just because it's too left-leaning. I just think it's just poorly done. And that was one of the things Nick was talking about, that they're going to have all this content, but they don't really care about the quality. And it's, to me, you can have poorly done stuff, but if there's heart, you can see it. It's like there's heart here, but they didn't have the budget to do it very well. But you can also do poorly done stuff, on low budgets too, and as well as big budgets. I don't know. You guys got any thoughts?
Honestly, I just want to cancel my subscription at times. It's
Yeah.
like it's up to $11 right now, and while people might say, okay, it's $1 difference from what you were paying before, that's not the problem. The problem is you're charging more for a service that really isn't improving. It's the same crap over and over again. You don't really have they don't really have a good license to stuff that I want to watch. Like, for example, I would probably more choose Hulu, because at least Hulu has The Simpsons, and I love The Simpsons. I think they also have like King of the Hill. And that's all stuff that I remember Netflix had. I don't think it has like King of the Hill anymore, if I recall.
Right. Right. Well, that's the side of the model I don't really know, is why does Netflix rotate stuff so much?
Yeah, and keep those shows on. Those are good shows. The people will watch. I'm pretty sure. The more people watch, the more you run ads before you put the episodes or something like that, you can make their money back. Because there was a time me and my brother were watching King of the Hill for like the entire summer, and Simpsons for like the entire summer. Like, that was all we watched. We watched like entire seasons over and over again, like daily. To the point is like we started memorizing lines in episodes and crap like that. So we enjoyed Netflix back then, and then like slowly they started removing things. Things started rotating, and once we saw the writing on the wall was the original stuff.
Yeah. Well, Eric's back.
Hooray!
Sorry about that, guys.
No, that's all good.
Well, we're talking about Netflix now, and its seemingly endless streaming nightmare that it's becoming. Again, LMP, I know that they pay a lot of licensing fees to the studios, but what I don't know is if there's any part of that agreement that says they have to rotate content or keep stuff there and then remove it. Doesn't Hulu, don't they show ads?
I believe so. I don't have Hulu.
Yeah,
I tried it for a while.
Yeah, there's no difference.
Oh, really?
We're gonna have any ads. Yeah, because my wife watches Hulu all the time. She's got the cheaper version, so she gets the ads.
Yeah, I think it's Hulu Plus. You don't get the ads. So
yeah,
and I don't know. I don't know if it's because Netflix is also creating their own content. They're going to have a difference. I know that a bunch of stuff got yanked off when they came out, because I had Netflix before they had a Xbox player. And when they came out with an Xbox player, Sony pulled a bunch of content off streaming. So I know there's also that kind of nonsense that goes on with them. So it's hard for me to say it's Netflix's fault all the time, but I think a lot of it, it's not just Netflix, but I think a lot of it is people in the industry not understanding that the spinning media is a dying game. And they want to hold on to that because there's a lot of infrastructure and the creation of those things that is that they want to hold on to. So there's a bit of sunk cost there. So, and Sony pulled a bunch of Stars content and a bunch of other things off back in the day.
Yeah, Sony's the worst.
Well, because because for a long time the only thing you could do it on was a PlayStation. And then came out with a Wii player, but it was, standard resolution because the Wii wasn't that great a resolution machine. But then when they came out, because they came out with it, and I actually noticed this because I knew about it, and I thought, well, maybe it's not as bad, and there was stuff that was on there, and then I went and registered an Xbox, and it disappeared. Because we didn't have a PlayStation at the time. So... But that was Sony's doing. They own Stars. I can still get the DVDs, but I couldn't watch it streaming for some stuff. So there's also that kind of crap going on as well. So
yeah, it's becoming a big clusterfuck.
I still think that the next paradigm shift, what I see is I see these companies get very large, and then they don't see the next trend coming until it's on top of them. And so there's probably somebody's got a half-baked idea right now that 5 years from now will be the next thing that unseats Netflix or Hulu or whomever survives the streaming wars.
God, I'm just looking through the list right now of Netflix originals on their on the app. I almost see nothing I would want to watch. Nothing like really stands out to me. Just
I'm waiting for the Punisher myself. That's what I'm waiting for.
You're waiting for what?
I'm waiting for the Punisher myself.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, that might be cool, but yeah, I don't.
Badass.
Oh my God, it sucks that they had to push it back because of the whole shooting thing.
Yeah, it feels like that's the only thing people are waiting for.
Yeah. God, I'm looking through this list right now. It's like I wouldn't even want to bother with some of these shows. And a lot of these are comedy specials, which is like, really, this is what we're paying for, comedy specials now? Like on streaming websites of all, like, it just seems like such a waste. Like, get rid of some of these original stuff and pay a little more for the licensing for some of the better stuff, and you might have people who will say, okay, well, we'll stick with the $11 as long as you give us some quality entertainment. Half this stuff I don't want to watch. There's no point.
Well, somebody's watching some of that stuff. Yeah.
Like Fuller House, I watched a few episodes and I turned it off. I was like, this is utter crap.
That was horrible, dude.
Like,
my wife loves that show. Oh, fuck, it's painful.
I actually watched some of the episodes of the older stuff, and I was like, God, I don't know how I enjoyed this as a kid. And then I thought about it. Well, you were a kid. You probably enjoyed anything as long as it looked bright and colorful. Plus, you had Bob Saget. So there was that too. But and yes, I know Bob Saget can be pretty raunchy, but it was Full House, so.
Oh, and his stand-up?
Oh yeah, I've heard his shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. That was a show when it was on that I never got into. Was that on the 90s? Full House.
Late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, late 80s. Yeah. So, I mean, I was into Friends and for a while, and then that got old to me. Sunny Spoon was another one that I was really into, and then it got canceled. But those types of shows, I was more into either some comedies and more drama, I guess. Really, I mean, St. Elsewhere was a show that I liked back in the 80s. But I never could get into ER for very long. After about the second or third season, I was done. So, Eric might be dropping out again. He said he was getting me home soon. So anyway, let's move on. Unless you guys want to talk about it some more, I'm kind of bored with the Netflix.
No, fuck Netflix. I might cancel it at some point. That's all I'll say.
Well, you guys have any other topics? We don't really have a whole lot. We talked about Eddie the reviewer. I mean, you guys had some good comments there, but scanning stuff almost sounds like everybody's kind of tired. But
no, it's just that is it right to beat on such a weak target?
I don't know,
gentlemen.
Yeah.
Anything else? It's wrong, ain't it? And it feels like it's just been like we should have stooped to that level.
Well, it's unfulfilling.
Oh God, yeah. It's like, don't worry, Eddie. Don't hate
It's
you.
giving attention to somebody that's desperate for attention.
Yeah, it does that too. So
Think he'll comment on this video?
he might. I don't know. So, do you guys have anything else at all you want to talk about in the world of entertainment or otherwise? I mean, it doesn't have to be WCBS necessarily.
Nothing much really, because I think the only thing I was aware of anything that really happened were the trailers and the Han Solo thing.
Yeah, and we commented on the comments. Great idea, Kendo. And they're getting quite a few views too. It's not like it's 100 views; it's in the thousands. So
yeah, good. Fuck, I really got nothing to say yet because I feel like it's been a really slow week at least for me. It's been a slow week entertainment wise. I really haven't been paying much attention. I know I've talked to you guys to death about how much I'm loving the Cuphead game, and maybe I'll consider doing a review. I don't know if I'll write it out and post it somewhere on some blog site and, have people read it or do a video, just quick audio. But, I mean, that's a thing, and I'm just trying not to wear the game out, but I've been enjoying the hell out of that when I can.
Yeah, it's really fun when you're not really pissed off at it.
Oh, no, yeah, there are moments. Believe me, I will address that if I ever do a review, like an actual review, not a, hey, I played it for 5 minutes. It's the greatest thing ever. I give it 5 stars, or I hate this one level. Oh, but it's a perfect game, but I hate this one level, so I give it a 1 star because that level ruined the experience for me. But then it was really good, but I still stick by the 1 star rating.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Good
Kendo,
visuals, but I'm really sucky at the game, so half star.
Oh, beats the shit out of my review. I thought I gave it the lowest score.
Yes. It's just an X and an O, but I love it. 5 stars.
Oh God, this game with the ball bouncing between 2 paddles. How the fuck do you play this thing?
With your nose.
I was gonna say something more obscene, but yeah, that works.
Yeah, so was I, and I decided not to. All right, since we woke Kendo up, do you have a BBC for the day? For the week?
Emily Ratajkowski.
Oh, there we go. Very nice. It's kind of a dangerous game you play there.
Well, it's funny because she's also like a massive feminist, so objectifying her for her chest is kind of funny to me.
Yeah, but hey, she's the one that's done the nude photos and videos.
Mm-hmm.
She's a bit of a I don't know what's not conundrum. It's almost like she's a mirage because she's really skinny, but those are nice and nice lips too. And I've seen a picture of her mother. She's just as gorgeous. So
Yeah, she does have a nice rack. Damn.
yep. All right, Emily, you have won this week's BBC. As a winner, you will receive our undying gratitude. Congratulations. All right, gentlemen.
Some horny bastard will probably whack off to her tonight, so who knows?
Well, hey, good for them. Well, I don't have anything else, and if not, we'll just wrap this one up and put a bow on it and call it a night. If that works for everybody. So, unfortunately, Eric Ward dropped off because he got home and had bad reception until he gets on Wi-Fi. So we'll say good night to Eric. So I have been your host, Brain Muffin, sitting here drinking Boston Lager, the worst beer that they make. On the line has been, lurking in the shadows, Mr. Kendo Slice.
That's me, always lurking.
And back again, and hopefully to be a more regular, Mr. Justin Beck.
I might actually watch this episode.
And LMP, close us out.
Always remember, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what they say, traps are still gay.
Good night.